Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Our Years. This is Barry.
I'm Rima.
And in today's episode, I thought it would be fun to go through the 36 questions that make you fall in love with someone. Let's jump right into it.
Yep.
If a crystal ball could tell you the truth about yourself, your life, the future, or anything else, what would you want to know?
I guess I'd want to look into the future and see what's happening. See how I feel about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I picked the same answer.
Yeah.
I would look into the future, assuming though that I can change things up until that
That
point.
is not, none of that is happening.
No, that's the only reason I would want to look into the future. Like, why look into the future if you can't do anything about it?
But the fact is that it's already happened and that's why you're able to look into the future.
No, I read a fiction book once. And the story was about like she could look into the future and then like she needed to change the outcome. So she kept reliving the same years up until she changed the outcome.
But then it's not the future. Then the future
Now
is
I'm being you. Now I'm being
no,
you.
I've answered questions correctly.
No. Your questions are like perfect and impractical.
No, please.
So this is me. This is a crystal ball. So essentially it's like perfect what like the situation would be. So like the situation is that I look into the future, but I can change things knowing what the future is or what it would be if I didn't do anything.
I interpret it as I will be able to see the future, but I wouldn't be able to change anything.
Then why look into the future?
Because I'm curious.
No, what I mean is like, yeah, like if you, for example, like 5 years into the future, 10 years into the future, like your life didn't turn out the way that you wanted it to turn out, and it actually turned out more negatively than you had imagined for yourself.
Yeah, then I guess I have 10 years to cope.
What I was thinking is like, if I knew that it was a negative outcome in 10 years time, given the current situation,
Yeah.
then I get to live the next 10 years trying to change it so that it becomes a positive outcome.
You know, even though we'd like to look into the future, I don't think me or you would ever go to like a crystal ball reader or
Yeah,
a tarot
that's
card
true.
reader.
Impractical.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't believe it.
Yeah.
I guess.
Oh, sure. There's no like science backed.
Yeah. No, there are a lot of, it's not
To
science.
look into the future.
Yeah, there's no science, but a lot of people are believers.
Sure. That's two things. What I'm saying is like, I'm a scientific girl.
You're a scientific girl. Living in a scientific world.
So I need facts.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
I think that's also probably why you wouldn't. Because you don't know it's true.
It seems so scammy to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. What do you value most in a friendship?
I think what I value in a friendship is what I value in any relationship. And so I think my love language is quality time. So I think people who make space for me and give me like undivided attention for however brief period of time, right? But they're very present and they make space for me in their life. And they do it very easily. Like it doesn't feel like I'm a burden. I think that's what I value in a friendship.
Yeah. I would agree. I think in addition to that is like support and honesty and empathy are three things that are listed. Because I agree, like being present and everything is like top of the list as well. But without like empathy, when you're in the present, you're telling them about your stories or like you're sharing experiences, right? Like I feel like it would be an unreal relationship or friendship. Yeah. So in addition to the things you said, obviously. Okay, next. Oh, okay. If you knew that in 1 year you would die suddenly, what would you change anything about the way you're living currently and why?
I mean, if I knew that I only had 1 year, then I probably would resign.
Literally, the first thing I said was, I wouldn't work so much.
Yeah, I would not work so much.
Yeah.
And then I guess I just see what I can do with my savings, right? Maybe donate some of it or like see how I want to use it. Travel to places that I've always wanted to. Spend more time with people I love.
Yep. Same answer.
Yeah.
Stole that out of my notes. Oh, okay. Let's do this one. This one's cute. Share something you consider a positive characteristic of your partner. Share a total of 5 items.
Okay.
I have 5 things about you.
Okay. I think the one very positive thing that was so stark when I met you was how much integrity you have.
Okay.
I feel like you always try to do the right thing no matter what. And it could be something that's so small, but I think you'll still try to do the right thing. And I was so fascinated by that.
It's funny because I think this is a quality that a lot of people are surprised by. And it's surprising to me that people are surprised by it because to me, I think it's so important.
Like I'd go in a one way, for instance, but I know you'd never go in a one way.
You don't never say never. If time need be,
You'll be there.
I think I try to do the right things if it's justified. Or the right thing, because I feel like right thing is quite subjective sometimes.
So as long as you're able to justify why you're doing it,
Right.
or you need to justify to yourself
Right.
more than anybody else.
For example, like someone asked me if I would always follow rules because of how high integrity I am.
Yeah.
And I don't think always, because if those rules are silly and if those
Silly little rules.
silly little rules, or if they're not backed by anything, I'm just like, why? You know, I don't think I'm impractical or dumb about the rules, you know. So I think a lot of people have that like idea that because I'm high integrity that I wouldn't go against the rules, but I disagree. And I think I've done multiple things that are against the rules.
Oh, please elaborate, man.
Remember that one time
Oh my god.
we can't have this on can't have this on the internet.
The fish thing. So silly.
See, this is what I mean, right? Okay, I think you're very curious about the world. And I think I like this about you because I think I enjoy being with people that is. So like just like little things, right? Like when you're on the road and we see something and we're like observing and you see something curious that you're curious about, like you bring it up and we have a conversation, like a full-on conversation about it. I don't think everybody can do that. Like some certain people are just aren't curious about the world, right? And if you are like, oh, I wonder why that thing is like that, or I wonder why this and that, right? They don't wonder. and I don't think I can get along with people like that. So I really enjoy that about you because I think you're genuinely curious and you want to know more. And if you don't know, you search it. I know you GPT a lot of things.
Yeah.
I can see certain looks on your face when I know you don't know something, but you're acting like you know.
GPT.
And then immediately GPT.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I really like that about you. And I think that gives you the like a positive edge compared to a lot of other people because that builds character and it builds knowledge and it builds things you can share with other people.
Thank you. Okay, the next thing that I like about you is that I think you operate with a lot of positive intent. I think, like, even for instance, like if you are having an issue with someone, and even if I don't know that person very well, you don't bitch about that person to me. Like, even though you are in a difficult position with them, you always assume that people are operating with positive intent and they're doing the best of their ability, and this issue is irrespective of that. Like, and I think that's very nice because a lot of people just really get sucked into negativity, and it's very easy to be the victim, and I don't think you do that. I don't think you ever victimize yourself because like I said, you operate with a lot of positivity.
Thanks. Yeah, I think I try to. At least I think it's important not to get sucked into like a negative
doom and gloom situation.
Yeah, turmoil.
Yeah.
Thank you, that's very nice.
This video is just us praising each other, first roasting each other, then praising each other.
Most of the time roasting, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
Okay, next one is, I think this one and the next one is pretty similar. It's 2 points, but I'll say it together. Maybe it's different. So the first one is second point about you is how driven and inspired you are to do things. I think this goes hand in hand with curiosity, maybe. I think all the qualities that I listed all make sense, like, together. So yeah, the first one I said was like curiosity, and then second one is like driven and inspired. I think like you know what you want, and I think that's such an important quality to have. And because you are, I think it makes those around you want to do the same. And the third quality I would just say together is, and I think I've told you before about how consistent you are with the things that you want to do. I think that for me is a huge inspiration and motivation for me to do the same. Like, you're very consistent about reading. You're very consistent about your book club, even though it includes going to the hot tub and drinking wine.
Best book club.
But yeah, like, you're very good at that. And like with this podcast even, like, I feel like you've given me a lot of like inspiration to consistently do it. Obviously, I think we both, you know, had the motivation to kick it off and start it. But I think, you know, you being like, okay, we need to discuss this, or, you know, we need to do this, I think is a good motivation and good quality that I think is very positive in you.
Thanks. I think the previous point I said is how you operate with positive intent, that you always assume the best in people. I think that's also for yourself, in the sense that I think you've had a lot of challenges and roadblocks to what you want to do in life, like whether it's your career, whether it's studies, I think, or like even some like really challenging situations with people. I think you've had a lot of hardships, but you always, you're so driven and you have so much conviction in what you want to do that all of that is just like noise. And I feel like it's very hard to meet people who are not bogged down by some of the things that have happened to them. I think it's similar to what I said about the victim mentality, is I think that you're very, very driven. And I think that comes out in all aspects of your life. Like, you know how you said that you like people, like your dinner guest, for instance, was someone who has a very full life. I think you really try to do that for yourself as well. And so you know what you want and you go after it, similar to what you were mentioning. I think like if you actually see what you do in a weekend, like if you look at your like Barry's Saturday or Sunday, I think what you do is what a lot of people do in a month.
You think so?
Yeah. And I think it's because we maybe around people who do like a lot of that, or like this person that you were talking about, right? You look up to people and they who do that, but I think you also do that a lot. And I think when like, for instance, if I was to talk to someone and say, this is what Barry did on Saturday, I think they would think it was like surprising, because I think most people do so much only in like a month.
Maybe I can see your point, because I look up to people like that. I want that for myself, and that's why I look up to them. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think like while you are like looking up to other people, you also just become that person and you don't realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you try to live a very full life, and or you do have a full life, and it's because it's a result of you being very positive and you having conviction and you having drive and assuming the best will happen regardless of roadblocks. I feel like if I lived by myself, I would be very doom and gloom.
You know, it's funny because I also say that. Like, I feel like if I didn't live with you, I would be quite
gloom and doom.
Yeah, like I feel like it wouldn't be as fun, you know? Like, obviously I have fun by myself. What do you mean? Obviously, like, you know, I feel like we're both independent people, and we just go and enjoy things. But I think, you know, what people say is like, honestly, this is such a relationship question, but I think, like, you know, when people say you're supposed to come together when you're really happy with your own separate lives, and then once you come together, it's even better than your own separate lives. And I think like that's like us. I feel like we have very fulfilling and happy like our lives by ourselves, but I think with your company in it, I feel like it's a lot better than if it was just by myself, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel that too.
Yeah,
I'm gonna miss now. I feel like there'll be a point when we don't live with each other.
Yeah, and we talk about this, but we shouldn't. We should just enjoy. Yeah, but
this
there will be a
positivity thing that I was mentioning. And I'm like, let's already feel sad about the time when we won't
and she'll just sit and feel sad about it. I'm like, dude, we're still here. We should just enjoy it.
Yeah, this is what I mean by the positivity, and this is what I mean by me being doom and gloom.
But yeah, I feel like well, at least I hope we'll live close enough that we can continue to do this for the next like 50 years, even though we don't live together. And obviously things will get in the way, but I think we'll both make an effort to.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
Okay. And the other thing that I really like about you is that you have a sense of humor about things.
I was going to say something similar for you.
Because I feel like there's so many of these, I feel like we're in a place now because of where we are professionally, personally. You need to be able to laugh about a lot of things because you have no control over them.
Yeah.
And I think you're able to do that, and it's nice to see that. And I think this also, maybe that comes from positive, maybe like that's the biggest driver. But I think you know when to have a laugh, and whether it's about yourself as well, right? You don't take yourself too seriously sometimes. You're able to, like, when people roast you, you're able to like appreciate it.
You know, that's funny because I think a lot of our friends don't think I'm able to do that.
I think you take time opening up to people. And even I felt it, like when, I've mentioned this to you before, when I feel like when I met you in Cornell to what you are, like now that I've learned more about you, you're so different.
I think...
Not in a bad sense, but just in a sense that, whoa, my first impression was so off.
So different.
Yeah.
I think also because you met me in like a academic setting and we were here to like, for a particular reason, which is, you know, to gain experience and... In the workforce here.
Yeah, a lot of people in that program were there for that also, but they were not behaving like that.
Because to me, I knew what my driver to come to the States was, to gain the experience here. And I knew the reason that I was studying at Cornell, and then also because of COVID and everything. So I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like, I think that there's a prompt on some of these apps where what's one thing you wouldn't know by my profile. I think people wouldn't know what a great sense of humor you have.
Yeah, that's funny. Because I was going to say something similar. Like a fourth point, I was going to say how unserious you are and how silly you are. And like, I mean that in the best way possible. Like, I think what I really like about you is that you have, and I think I told you about this before, is you have a good like silly to serious ratio.
Silly to serious ratio.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of the time people say, you know, they're looking for something that is... They don't take themselves too serious. They're looking for someone.
Trigger thing.
Yeah, that is my trigger. When someone says that on like a dating app, immediately I'm turned off, because I'm just like, if that is the case, then like you're telling me you're looking for someone who doesn't care about their life. Or that's my interpretation of it, at least, right? I think like not taking yourself too serious is a balance of taking yourself seriously and not, right? And I think you have like a really good balance, and I think that's why we get along so well. I think most of the time we're unserious and silly, but I think when need be, like we're serious about our jobs, and we're serious about this podcast, and we're serious, but obviously you have fun alongside it, right? And so I think that's something really great about you. You're very good at being unserious and serious at the same time.
Thanks. I can see how people can fall in love after these questions, dude.
Are you falling in love with me? No. I think you already had from the start, from when we started. I was just about to say when we first started dating.
Dude, this is why we need time apart. I think the time apart
truly
is good.
The next 2 weeks you'll be gone.
Yeah,
so it's good.
I think this is needed.
We always say this at the end of the year because we do our little annual trips to our hometown. But then we come back and we just carry on where we left off.
Like we finish each other's sentences.
We think the same thoughts, like yesterday or something.
Even our gestures. Like I feel like we mirror each other without realizing.
You mirror me.
Okay.
But yes, I think it's true.
Yeah.
We need time apart.
We do.
I actually have another one. I like this one a lot. I think you're very loving and you're very like affectionate and caring, and you do a lot of things for your family and your friends that I think it's funny because I think I told you this the other day, but to me this is the baseline, right? Because I think I'm very privileged with very loving people around me, and so when you do things for me, I don't think I take you for granted, and I don't think I take the things you do for me for granted. Like, for example, I think something you did before when you like bought me flowers or something, right? Like, just so like
cute.
She is very cute. But yeah, just like small things like that, or like when I'm not feeling well, just checking in, and if you like can get me anything, things like that, right? I think that you're very loving, and then I put in parentheses your cute aggression, which is you bullying me all the time. But yeah, I think like that is something that a lot of people enjoy about you, is that you put in effort to those that you care about a lot. you put in a lot of effort to those that you care about. You're very loving and affectionate to those who are lucky enough to experience that from you.
Yeah, I think it's like you said, it's table stakes because most people in our life are like that. They're so nice, right? And they're just nice without thinking. And I think that you just like emulate what you've always had.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things where if a stranger met us and we did that for them, I think they wouldn't know how to react to that, because I've had that experience actually where I did something for someone where I just assumed that that's
Right.
what the move.
Yeah.
And they were like so
Shocked,
taken aback
right.
by that.
Or they were so pleasantly surprised. But
No,
like,
they were they were very like shocked that other people respond like that. And I was shocked that they were shocked.
yeah.
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 I think especially recently when I was talking to a friend about it, I was talking about like certain things that my friends would do. Like, you know, if you're feeling sick, you would just drop off food at their house and make them feel better, you know, or if they're having a long day,
Yeah.
like you could just do something that can make their day better. And I think this friend was kind of shocked by us having that as a baseline.
Yeah. I think they're shocked because maybe unfortunately they haven't seen a lot of it. And I think it's one of those things where you're like conditioning, right? Where if you don't see something, you're always shocked that it happens.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. I think like we're very privileged in the sense that the people that we're surrounded by are like that, who are loving and caring and affectionate.
Yeah.
I don't think it made me realize when we were having that conversation that not everybody has had the privilege, or not privilege, but not everybody has been lucky enough
Yeah.
to.
And we sort of take it for granted that that's how people are, right? And then you have these conversations and you're like, oh, not everybody has that.
Right. Yeah. I think that's one thing. And then I think this ties in closely is your empathy. Yeah, I think you're very empathetic and you try to understand things from people's perspective. And when people are feeling sad, you feel sad too. And it's nice knowing that, you know, you have that kind of support. Yeah.
The other thing that I really like about you is that I think you have so many facets to yourself and you're good at most of them, if not all. Like you used to play sports when you were growing up. You're outdoorsy, but you were good at study. Like you were really good academically. You played the piano, and you complain about what is the
Scales. Oh my gosh, the absolute worst. Oh my gosh. I can go on and on about how I hate it. It is a trigger word. I think we were watching a movie.
The Life List.
Oh, Life List.
Yeah.
The Life List, yeah. And she was practicing scales. I was like, the absolute worst.
Why was it bad? Like you just like think it's like a motion. It's exercise you keep doing,
yes,
and
it's
so it's just like
exercise.
monotonous.
Yeah.
Is it painful? Apart from the mental pain it's causing.
No, physically it's not painful. It's good for your muscle building.
Okay.
And also just like being very precise and articulate in the piano.
Yeah.
Just hated it because it was so boring. There was no melody. There was no tunes to it. It was just absolute worst.
When you get your baby grand, you have to go back to practicing
I haven't
scales.
played in years. I should get back into it. But
Yeah. But like when I met you, like I feel like who has like everything like you? Like I was like shocked at how many things you were good at.
I think
And I think you continue to do that. Like even now, you try to be good at whatever you do. And I think you're like it's not like you take yourself so seriously or take too seriously where if you like are like bad at something you give up. Like I think you continue and you're okay at the pace that what you do, but you still continue doing it. But like I said, for the most part, you're very good at whatever you do. And I find that very fascinating.
it's funny and I'm laughing because I think it's funny that you say I'm good at it. I don't think doing it consistently makes me good at it.
No, but like you draw. Like you just go to the park and draw so well. I'm like, what the heck? Is there anything this woman can't do?
There are things I can't do, right?
I'm sure there are, but there are so many things you do. This is the part where I give you a compliment and you take it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
No, it's thank you. Thanks.
Yeah. And so I was like, wow, I feel like as a kid, I didn't do as much, you know?
You know, I think it's a matter of, again, being very privileged and lucky to have parents who cared about those things and really cared for us getting to experience different things when we were kids and exposing us to different things, right? I think a lot of kids nowadays, they if they're not exposed to it, they don't know they like it, right? And so some people will say, oh, I don't like this and that because they haven't experienced it. Yeah. So I think I'm just very lucky that my parents cared for us learning things.
I'm sure that's one part of it, but there's like work that you put into it. And I think I really like how multifaceted you are. Like there are so many aspects of life that you want to experience. Like, okay, even if the point where you're like, oh, I'm not good at all these things, but even the parts where you want to experience so many things, I think I'm now thinking that it's just a curiosity thing that you told me is what I think is true for you as well. Like we go on walking tours and learn about the Golden Gate Bridge.
That's true. And we enjoyed that so much.
And then we look up how the fibers were connected.
Dude, that was my favorite part of it though.
Yeah, the little cross section of the bridge and how all the wires are connected.
If you guys didn't know, the Golden Gate Bridge, so the wiring or the and well, I wouldn't say wiring, but the irons that
the cables,
thank you, the cables that put the bridge together, they're not one thick solid metal. It's actually multiple like strings of thin metal cables that are put together or wired together so that it makes a thicker one. And the reason they did that is to allow for better transportation, because those obviously are super heavy. So making it into smaller pieces and transporting those to the Golden Gate Bridge and then assembling it there is so smart. And I really like that fact.
Yeah. There was a really good walking tour. I think it's called City Walks. That's in SF.
Yeah. Sponsor us.
I think we need to sponsor them. Yeah. I think they need help.
Sponsor them.
Yeah, sponsor them. But yeah, the walking tour actually ended with you're supposed to do the walk off the Golden Gate Bridge.
We're like,
yeah, we got to brunch.
Where did we do? No, we went to
brunch.
We went to Hot Pot.
Okay, so yeah, we basically were like, no, we're gonna go eat.
Yeah, but that was fun. But I agree. Yes, I think.
Yeah, so I think like your zest for life is high, and because of that, you are able to do all these things and be good at it. And even if you're not, you still experience. You're good with the experience itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the same about you. That's why we get along.
We've just become one person.
I know, one boring person.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I wouldn't argue that we're boring. I think we're quite fun.
Nice, quick say. One of my friend used to say that dating is two semi-interesting people becoming one boring person. And I think because we live together and we spend so much time outside of work together, the transformation is complete.
Yeah. This will be so sad when we don't live together anymore. But I don't think that will change our friendship. I think it would just be less time together.
I feel like I'm going to third wheel you and your partner a lot. I was just like one of my other really good friends in the Bay. I feel like she's my roommate from college. I feel like I third wheel her and her partner so much that I introduced them to some other people and they thought we were a throuple.
I think that's on you.
Yeah. And she keeps telling me to not hang out with her and go date instead. And I was like, no.
I think that's funny you say that because I think I'm the same for all my friends. And like
I have no issues third wheeling.
I think I third wheel a lot. Like my one of my best friends in Taiwan, like her and her husband, well, they got together because I introduced them. Well, I didn't introduce them, but because of me and this other guy that I was meeting, they got together.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, they I'm always third wheeling them, and then all their friends that I now are my friends are also coupled up, and so every time I go out with them, I'm just like the 11th wheel.
Wow.
I'm always the odd wheel, essentially. Yeah. So same. Okay, next question. How close and warm is your family? Do you feel like your childhood was happier than most other people's?
Okay. So how close or warm is my family? I think that every family member is so different from each other that I don't think one answer would fit everybody. Like for instance, I think also maybe it's how they show affection, right? Like my sister is very physically affectionate. Like she's like a golden retriever. Like she'll literally like just jump on you when she meets you and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and even if she meets you, like I think you've met only once during graduation,
yeah,
right?
but she was like
Yeah.
that. She was so sweet.
Yeah, she's just like that. But like, for instance, my mom is not so like physically affectionate. My mom's love language is cooking. Like she'll make you
Like
all your
all Asian
favorite food.
mamas.
Yeah, it's stuff like that. So I don't think I felt like unloved by my family at any point. I think growing up, it was like very much the to gender roles thing where it was like, you know, the father is the one who sort of is the breadwinner. And so I didn't see my dad very often growing up because he lived, like he traveled for work a lot.
Yep.
So I think, like I said, everybody shows affection in my family very differently. To the point, what was the last question? Do I think my childhood was happier than others?
Yeah.
I don't know how to answer that. I feel like I was happy in my childhood and I had a good childhood. I mean, I didn't learn how to ride a bike as an adult, but I feel like
But now you do.
I know. I feel like everybody has things that they had and didn't have in childhood, right?
I agree.
So if you can't compare, yeah. But yeah, I was happy with my childhood.
Yeah, I agree. You can't, it's like comparing it to other people and saying that yours is happier than others is very subjective, right? Like, and also why would you compare your happiness to other people's? First of all, I think it's subjective, right?
Yeah.
Like something that makes you happy might not be something that makes someone else happy in their family.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think generally, I had a pretty good childhood and I think my family is warm and I think I'm close with my family. It's funny, I think I'm the personality high of my family. I'm kidding, but
Which is so funny because so many people think you're really serious when they don't know you. Yeah.
I know, and it's funny because it's funny to a point where at home my mom's like, if you continue to do this, you're never gonna get married. She's just like,
What feedback?
she's like, you need to be more like serious sometimes. I think my mom knows like I'm very serious about my life, and so at home I'm just like very silly and very unserious.
Do you feel the need? Did you ever feel the need to be that person?
I think I do sometimes, yeah, because my brother and my sister aren't as affectionate, and so I feel like I sometimes need to compensate for the affection that they don't show. And I think it's actually done good for my family. Like I remember in high school, I don't think my family growing up was, I think you go through a very awkward phase in your teens where you don't love your siblings.
The angst, the teenage angst.
Yeah, exactly. But I think I was always like affectionate. And so I remember when my sister and my brother, when they went off to like high school, so we all went to different high schools and we all went to boarding school. So all three of us, different high schools, different boarding schools. And yeah, I would only see them once a week. And so I initiated hugging them first, and it became like a ritual. Like before my mom dropped us all off at our different boarding schools on a Sunday nights, I would make a dedicated effort to get out the car and like hug them. And I think it became something that my brother and my sister did, and now they initiate it. And I think it's so nice that they do that. Yeah, so I think like sometimes people are like, you know, why do you feel the need to do it? Or like, do you feel like you need to actively do it and it's like unnatural? Sometimes it may not be a bad thing, I think.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, to your points, yes. I do feel like sometimes I do need to do it, but I think it brings value. Yeah. Do you feel like you do?
I do want.
Need to like actively bring silliness or unseriousness to your family?
No, I don't think so. I've never felt that. I think, like I said, everyone's like in my family reacts so differently, like emotionally. I think we're all just very different. So I don't think like the four of us are similar in that sense at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess everyone has just different love languages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny, when I was leaving Taiwan, every year I go back to visit, and when I come back, I'm like, Dad, are you gonna miss me? He's like, it's so quiet without you at home. But he said it first, and I was like, oh, okay. I'm like the noisy one. I'm like, I make a racket at home. But then he said it in a way that is like, oh no, we miss like your
Energy.
yeah. So yeah,
Shout out, John.
shout out John, my bestie.
Okay, the next question. When did you last cry in front of another person or by yourself?
I actually don't remember the last time I cried. think it's been a while. And I'm quite an emotional person, which is surprising that I haven't cried in a while. Or maybe I just don't remember. That's a higher possibility.
That makes sense.
With someone else, maybe I think the most recent is probably a few months ago when I was having an argument with my mom on FaceTime, and I was just feeling very frustrated and not understood or misunderstood. And so, yeah, I think the frustration came out in tears.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And then by myself, I don't remember. So it's been a while. I feel like things have been all well, or maybe I just haven't had time to sit down and reflect.
Yeah.
How about you?
When did I last cry by myself? I think a couple of weeks back. I was just having like a really bad day at work. And it was just like, I think it was the frustration of it more than the sadness of it. Yeah. It was like a quick cry.
This one time I was working from home. And I came out to like cook myself lunch, and Rima comes out and she's like, I've scheduled time to cry. Like she blocked out time on her calendar because she was feeling so frustrated. Was this time during that time?
I don't remember if it was the same time.
But it was just so funny because I was like, did you actually? She's like, yes. She literally blocked out time on her calendar so she can sit and just cry. And then when the time was up, she halted all the tears and then just got back and continued working.
Okay. Yeah. So I need to do this. Like if I need to cry in the middle of the workday, it's not like I'm like, oh, it's 12 o'clock, time to start crying. It's not
That's
like
what
that.
you did, no?
But it's like I need a window where I can just emote.
Sit in your emotions.
Yeah, and I don't have to be like someone is like calling me for a huddle or I need to reply to a Slack message.
Right.
So that's what I mean. Like I just need like time where I can feel feelings, and then after that I'm like ready to go.
In my opinion, I'm all for it. It's very productive.
Dude, if I had the ability I would want is to cry on time. Because how efficient would that be?
You can't make your emotions something like that. You can't decide when you're gonna be emotional or not.
I think it's a great time saver.
Okay,
That's the ability I would want.
sure.
Yeah.
I think it's very productive, but sure.
Yeah.
I don't think it's very real, but
Yeah. I don't know if you've watched the show Succession, but in the last season, there's this scene where one of the characters, she's going to therapy. I don't know what therapy this is, but Succession, all the characters are whack. But basically, she goes to therapy because she doesn't cry as a human. And so her therapist is like, you need to have an outlet to cry.
Yeah.
So the therapist like literally makes her cry on command. Like they practice how she can cry on command.
wow.
And I remember watching that episode with some friends and they were like, who does this or who wants this? And I was like,
Me.
I want it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think last time I cried was as I just had like a really bad work day. And it was just like a quick cry.
You know, that's funny. I don't think you ever cry out of frustration when you're talking to me. You cry when you feel empathetic or sad when you're with me. You don't like telling me your frustrations.
Yeah, because I feel like I don't think it's a you thing.
You don't like telling people your frustrations.
I don't like crying in front of people because I feel like when I cry in front of people, their immediate thing is to try to make me feel better, which I appreciate. But sometimes I just need to cry.
Right.
So I think it's like, if it's just a time where I need to cry, then I'd rather just do it on my
You
own
can
time.
do that
I
on
can
the
schedule
couch
it.
when I'm here.
That's why I schedule time
And
to
then
cry
we
in
can
my
cry
room.
together.
Just cry together.
Correct. You can
It'd
cry
be like
party.
that. We bring the fun.
We do bring the fun.
Yeah, we set out a party for people to come and
For
cry.
cry party. I love that.
Love that. And I think cry in front of another person. I don't remember the last time I cried in front of people. But to your point, I feel like I'm an empathetic crier.
That's
Like
what
if
I
people are
mean.
crying in front of me when I start crying.
Yeah, same. And yeah, I feel like that's the only time I see you cry. When we're talking about something that is like sad, or we talk about,
Yeah, I'm an empathetic crier.
yeah. Especially like with my parents, when they cry, immediately I cry. Or like not even my parents, like my relatives.
Yeah.
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 Immediately. Or like even my friends, if they're telling me a sad story, I'm just like tears.
Tears.
Even with movies, we sit and cry.
Yeah. We try avoid. We haven't watched a sad movie in a while.
Yeah.
But even when we were growing up, like I remember this time where my friend was like her dad was scolding her for something, and she started crying, and then I started crying. So anytime my friends were being disciplined by their parents, when I was crying. This is what I mean by I'll save so much time if I could like time my crying.
What are you gonna time your friends fights with her parents?
That's what evolution should. That's the evolution I'm looking for.
Noted.
Yeah, but I think I used to cry way more before. I feel like
I
in the
think
last few years,
so.
I've just not cried a lot.
I cried a lot when I was in relationships.
Oh,
I don't know why that is. I think I'm very emotional in relationships.
yeah. I can see that.
Yeah. Yeah, but when I'm not, I'm all fine and well.
I think you say that, but I don't think like to people who don't know you, I feel like it sounds like you were in a very like sad relationship.
I wasn't. Don't get me wrong.
But I've like met some of these guys and I've heard of some of these guys and they all seem really nice. So
They're
I don't
great.
yeah. So I think it's like not that you were sad. I think it's just you
I had a lot of emotions.
yeah.
Yeah, and I was very sensitive. Yes, not yeah. Good point. I don't want to paint a bad picture for them. It's not
Yeah,
anything to
they
do
were
with them.
really, yeah.
Yeah,
They were good. I think yeah. Relationships do that sometimes. They make you cry.
They make you very emotional. Not great. All right, so your house containing everything you own catches fire. After saving your loved ones and pets, you have time to safely make a final dash to save any one item. What would it be?
My passport.
I was literally gonna say the same answer. My documents.
Yeah, admin work, the existing admin work in my life is already one of my lowlights of life.
Yep.
All the admin work that I need to do.
Yep.
That if I lost the original documents, I don't know what I'd do. I'd go into the fire and just spare it.
I have a to-go bag. I have a bag that contains all my most important documents and like my passport and everything that I can just grab and go.
Because of the earthquakes in SF.
Yeah.
Oh.
This was a thing in Asia. Like you have to have like a emergency bag. And in that bag, like I have like water and food and things like that. But obviously here, like no, because
We have baby earthquakes.
yeah. But in the events, like I have my most important documents in there and I keep it in there at all times.
Wow.
And you should do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should keep a bag, like just a small bag that's easy to go, and then also put a pair of change of clothing. I think that's important too.
Wow, I never thought about making a go bag, but now that you're saying it, that seems
You
like
should,
yeah.
you should have, and it should be accessible, so you can just grab and go.
Yeah. So in a fire, documents.
Yep.
Can't do more admin work.
Yep. Yeah, agree. Yeah, I think we didn't go through all the questions, obviously.
Yeah, some of them were too deep.
Yeah, well, not too deep. I feel like we would discuss them, but I think like
Not put it on the internet.
Correct. Yeah. I think certain things are, personal, and we'd like to keep it that way. As much as we'd like to share a lot of things with you guys, I think there are just certain things that are very personal and sensitive. So we're trying to keep a bit of that as well, while sharing as much as we can with you guys. But yeah, I think it was fun doing this activity.
Are you in love with me?
Are you?
When was I not?
But yeah, thanks for joining us on this little adventure that we went on with asking each other questions. I hope that inspires you guys to do the same with your friends or your loved ones. I think it's a very fun activity to do together, and makes you laugh and get to know each other better. But yeah, let us know what you guys think. As usual, we'll see you guys in the next one.
Toodles.
Bye.